Good morning, good afternoon, I guess now. It's 12:12 p.m. on the Nikki Maduro Show. I'm Kim McAllister in for Nikki today. And thank you for being here. Sorry I was a little late hopping over once again. It's always a jump from the Mark Thompson Show to the Nikki Maduro Show, and we ran long. So hopefully you were watching that and you understood what was happening there. So many thanks to you for being here. Of course, the first thing I'm going to ask you to do, as always, clicky the likey button. Just do it, please, oh please. It's free and it makes a difference in some scenario to YouTube. So thank you for clicking it if you can. Much appreciated. The NikkiMaduroShow.com, the website to go check out as well. That's where the Patreon link is and the PayPal link and everything else. So very kind of you to consider doing that. Also got the link for, and this is on the NikkiMaduroShow.com, the Nikki Maduro shop where you can find all the merchandise and everything else. Okay, so today on the show, I'm really excited. We have Jefferson Graham, who will be joining us in just a bit, maybe in Guyobelum. I'm not sure. I sent him the link. He's got some upcoming shows that I'd love to tell you about. So we'll see if he pops in or not. Oh, did you, Ricky O'Bear, already saying I've upped my PayPal Patreon contribution of yours? Wonderful. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Ricky O'Bear, always full of support and good times. Uh, okay, so yesterday we were talking about the whole Trump situation where he wants to get rid of the US citizen birthright. So if you're born here, you're automatically a citizen here in the United States of America. And I had asked you guys to really kind of give it a little more thought and to consider what you were thinking about that and whether it's something that has served us in the past but no more, or whether it's something we ought to keep with us. And there's the link if you want to call into the show and talk about it. But if you have anything in the comments you want to say as well, I will take your comments on that, because I know sometimes, you think something at the moment, or maybe you haven't really looked into it. So if anyone, was rolling it around in their brain and maybe came up with some other thoughts that they wanted to share, really happy to entertain whatever it was that you were thinking about on that. Um, Oh, yeah. So, everybody, I'm so happy to see you all hopping in here to the Nikki Maduro Show. So cool to have you all with us. Some other stories I'm looking at today. Of course, Nikki is at her second job and she will be back tomorrow, just in time for the Friday food segment. Um, but I wanted to talk to you a little bit about the economy, because there's a story out of CNN Business that says Macy's and Costco and maybe some other big chains too are kind of sounding a warning about what is to come when we're talking about the economy. Not that you've never seen a Macy's before, but just in case, I do indeed have a picture of Macy's, because why not, while we're talking about what a store like this means to the economy and how they do business kind of reflects what's happening. There it is, the picture of Macy's that was so important to me. So today, Macy's cut its annual profit and sales forecast. They say customer demand has just slowed. They have had layoffs, every couple years for the last several. They say the US consumer, particularly at Macy's, pulled back more than we anticipated. This is according to the Macy's CEO, Jeff Jeanette. He said customers reallocated spending on food, essentials, and services. Well, the price of food has gone up, so maybe we don't have enough money for that fancy new sweater at Macy's. He said Macy's will increase its promotions to clear out unsold merchandise. Same store sales at Macy's sank 8.7% last quarter. Higher end department store Bloomingdale's dropped 3.9%. The Macy's stock, they say, flat during early trading today. And so it's really the latest retailer to point out that there's a change in what customers are wanting. Costco saying just last week, some customers are switching from buying the pricier steaks and beef there to going for the cheaper meats like pork and chicken. You know, that Costco rotisserie chicken. Super good bargain. It's a trend that has become common in previous recessions. So they're saying, looking at the fact that customers' wants are changing, what customers are buying is changing, signals that we're headed toward a recession, right? These shoppers, apparently, according to CNN, have bought most of the clothing, electronics, furniture, and other goods they want over the last 3 years during the pandemic. They say, and I never think this, that Macy's and Costco appeal to middle and higher income shoppers because Macy's has some great sales. I mean, you can get things at Macy's cheaper than Target sometimes, just and higher quality, just because they always have end of season sales. But okay. And Costco, I kind of thought that was an everybody place. Maybe because you have to have a membership, it's more for middle and high income, but that's what they're saying. So they say many are shifting their discretionary spending to travel and other services that they were not able to find during the pandemic. Strong demand remains for in person experiences like travel and dining out. Of course, Costco would know that because they have the Costco travel service as well. So, big business for leisure and hospitality, spending expected to pick up this summer as consumers open up their wallets, they say, for memorable experiences. Airlines and hotels, in some cases, have record bookings, but retailers are struggling. So maybe instead of buying the fancy stuff, which you think if you're, going on a big vacation, you'd need your new resort wear or whatnot at Macy's. Guess not. Macy's significant earnings guidance reduction underscores challenges facing retailers given a softening consumer spending environment and shifts in budget towards services. That according to one of the directors at Fitch Ratings, David Silverman, who spoke with CNN Business. And they say it's not just middle and higher income people that are changing the way they spend. It's also lower income shoppers. They've got less money to spend on discretionary purchases. So their shopping is slowing down as well. At Dollar General, they say the core lower income customers are passing up discretionary purchases like home goods and clothing. That company cut its outlook as well. Stock fell 20% during early trading Thursday for the Dollar General. They said, according to Dollar General, the macroeconomic environment is more challenging than they previously anticipated. And that is having a significant impact on customer spending levels and behaviors. Some retailers doing okay. The ones that are focusing on food and essentials, like Walmart, doing fine. The ones that aren't, struggling. Beauty retailers have seen strong sales too. People spending on smaller indulgences, maybe like makeup and lipstick, cosmetics and skincare chains Ulta and Elf are having sales go through the roof. But yeah, not the more expensive things, apparently. We don't want that. So interesting how what we when we look at what's happening at Macy's and Costco, we can kind of see maybe a sign of the times. Maybe that's what's happening. So it's a really good indicator. See what you guys have to say in the chat. Let's scroll back a little bit. Kay in Santa Rosa says, I will agree. I've been putting off things like new clothes because of inflation. Those things are not the highest priority for Kay in Santa Rosa. hmm SF Tesla, you can be sitting pretty on Union Square and suddenly where did all the crowds go? So shut up and move on. But where can an entire chain leave to? Anonymous says, darn algorithms showing data we are heading toward recession makes sense why tech companies had major layoffs. They have the data to forecast. JR says this year's Macy's Thanksgiving Day parade will be some dude holding a bunch of helium balloons playing a kazoo. Ren writing, I tried to buy something at Macy's last month. Quality has dropped. It has. And there was no one to help in any department. Layoffs. I was a clerk at the checkout desk only. That didn't used to be the way at Macy's. Used to be able, kind of like Nordstrom's, you'd walk in and there was always somebody ready to help. Don't think Macy's is high end. Yeah, me neither. They say it's Liz says it's middle. When I think of high end, it's Neiman Marcus, Saks Fifth Avenue. Those are the places I don't even walk in because I just know I'm not buying anything there. Randy writing, Costco says more people are buying less beef, which is more expensive than chicken and pork. Yeah, that's why I read that part of the story as well. Kay in Santa Rosa saying, I don't have a Costco membership. I can't justify it for just me. I'd maybe for gas, but the Costco's in my area are nowhere near where I drive. It is worth it for gas, Kay in Santa Rosa, let me tell you. And there's different levels of membership. Might be more worth it than you think. But yeah, I guess if most of Costco's good deals are the in bulk stuff. But I kind of need a Costco membership. I like going to Costco. My Costco is the one in Rohnert Park, so you may find me roaming the aisles looking for cool stuff there. I don't I have it's funny. Used to be that I could never get out of Costco for less than 200 bucks. I mean, because once you get in there, you put stuff in the cart and you don't realize it's adding up and it's adding up. And then you get to the register and it's like, whoa, what did I just do? But during the pandemic, everything was being delivered. And so when you are ordering by for delivery, you're kind of more purposeful. It's not that impulse buy that you just see and throw into the cart, right? So my Costco spending went way down during the pandemic. Anonymous writing, my old friend called Neiman Marcus neatless markups. High end to me, low end to his wealthy perspective. Ricky Aubert saying cheaply made high end clothing is a first world problem. Randy on the recession saying extending into 2024 could be bad news for Biden getting reelected. And Costco is a good place. Agree. If nothing else, says Randy, for the rotisserie chicken and the $1.50 hot dog deal, which I think they took away and brought back. So there's that. Oh, and they have the chicken bake there. Wonder how stores like Marshalls and TJ Maxx are doing, says Wes. I haven't looked into it, but I would think that, you know, Marshalls and TJ Maxx, not unlike Target and Walgreens, not Walgreens, but Target and Walmart don't sell groceries and essentials. So if it's just, even if it's discounted merchandise, do you need it? And I think that's what people are not spending on. Yeah. Randy again, not sure Macy's has had a lot of layoffs. They probably can't find salespeople these days. So I have a friend that worked for Macy's shortage control, and she's an auditor. And she got laid off maybe I want to say 4 years ago, then hired back, and then laid off again 2 years ago. And she's not the only one. They've had company wide layoffs at Macy's over and over again. So yeah, Macy's has had layoffs and probably unable to find enough people as well. So it's probably a double whammy. Cheryl says, Amy says, Costco card starts at 40 bucks a year. Not that expensive. Cheryl says, I can't buy at Costco because I spend much more than I planned, right? And I'm stuck with products for a year. I can't justify Costco either. It works best maybe if you have another person you're shopping with. Sometimes my mom will buy something she wants at Costco and, it comes in a pack of 4 and she'll peel off a couple and pass them around to other family members. If you eat meat, Cindy says Costco meat is worth the membership and some bulk items like Kleenex as well. And Kim pulling the old Netflix passwordy. Oh, look at that. I froze and it's so not attractive. How unfortunate for me. We'll just stop the camera then. Um, Kim says try and hop onto a friend's membership. It would be worth it to pay them a little bit every year. Yeah, it would. If you buy enough at Costco, they send you a check that pays for half the membership. Katie says, try to put together a group Costco membership. I live alone. We divvy up the 9 pounds of cheese, for example. Yes, exactly. Vilma, love Costco. You get rewards at the end of the year for that membership. That's right. You get that little check. Calvin, again, with the splitting membership with someone and then ordering the stuff. Beth says Costco used to be about $25 an item. Now it's higher. Depends on what you're getting there. I mean, I've seen they have $5, items. They've got I don't know. Maybe the average is about 20 bucks an item. Amy says a lot of people don't know that you can shop at Costco for alcohol or anything prescription and for glasses, and you don't need a membership. Is that true? I thought they checked your membership card right at the door, that anything you bought in there, you needed to have a membership for. But Amy says, oh, you can shop for booze, prescriptions, glasses, and you don't need a membership. Thanks for the info, Amy. That's pretty cool. There's one. I It depends, Kay in Santa Rosa. I think it's worth it for the gas alone. If you happen to be in that area, yeah. Oh, regarding the hot dog situation at Costco, the all important hot dog update. Doot, 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 doot. Costco dropped the Polish dog, but they still have the hot dog. Okay. All is right in the world, right? Donde está Nikki? Nikki is at her second job, Chad. She has, because, we got laid off from our last place of employ and we've got bills to pay. So she has a second job and maybe 2 days a week. Sometimes, like last week, I think she was here all week long, but there will be maybe 2 days a week where Nikki has to work in San Francisco. And she's leaving me in the driver's seat, which is lovely. And that is where she is today, but she will be back tomorrow. And it's going to be a great show. We've got Tim Sika with movie reviews. We've got the Friday food segment, a lot of things going on tomorrow. So I understand if you are missing her because I'm missing her too. I love the conversation with her, and she will be back tomorrow. So don't fret, never fear. Nikki está en su segundo trabajo. Sí. Thank you, N Stars. Knit One Pearl One. Thrift stores are doing good, but there are a lot of resellers there also making it hard for lifelong thrifters. Yeah. Who are Macy's buyers? The fashions have gone downhill. Oh no, Nancy unhappy with the offerings at Macy's. Lee is saying maybe we shouldn't be buying those chickens over at El Costco. They are raised inhumanely. Maybe those aren't the chickens we're looking for. Maybe we should be paying higher prices for chicken that doesn't have hormones pumped in and is raised in a way that is a little better. I don't know. Ricky Aubert says Costco plus delivery service is working well for my close family. Anonymous not happy with the prices over at Macy's. And Harry, regarding what Amy had to say, doesn't know about booze, but it's true about medical and prescriptions. You can always try it, you know. Nice, says Jim. Prozac, my booze, and my eyesight. Yep. Harry says I was laid off and rehired as a contractor at more money. Excellent. Yeah. SF Tesla, you still flash your membership hard copy card at Costco, but I remember going there one day and they were touting their new phone app. Good thing it's DL, Disneyland driver's license, because shades of Netflix paying members only. Huh. Prescription requires no membership. Alcohol is allowed without membership at states like New York and California. Glasses, contacts require membership. Hmm. Different information coming in. Yeah, interesting. I stopped going to the Valley Fair Mall, says YouTube user. When Valley Fair Macy's when they started charging for parking. That makes a difference, doesn't it? I occasionally go to the Oak Ridge one. Trying on clothes takes longer than the time allowed for free parking. Oh no, you got to move fast in that dressing room then. Got to go, go, go. Yeah, when they charge you to shop, that's when it's like, how much do I really want to go there? How inconvenient are you making it for me that perhaps I just won't shop at your store if you're going to do that? I don't know. Um, okay, so I saw the story and it's just another one of these. What is even happening in the world? You know, I just can't even. This is a story at Disneyland. And I think the mom who posted this video meant it to be something who that was absolutely lovely. And it turned into this big thing when people glommed onto it. This woman took her daughter to Disneyland, and they have that boutique there, the Bibbidi Bobbidi Boo boutique, where you can spend virtual ass loads of money, pardon my French, on getting your child all dolled up. So there's different prices. You can pay $250 for the hairdo and an inexpensive dress, not inexpensive, but a lower end dress, princess dress. The dresses with the nicer fabric, maybe a little fancier features, that's a $350 expenditure. I think there's a $450 level as well. I think you could forego the dress if you brought your own and spend 150 or something just on the hair. But it's a magical experience. They give you sparkly clips and they cover your hair in glitter and put your hair in a princess bun. You get I think in some cases, maybe some lip gloss, some, whatever. But you see these little girls walking around Disneyland and they've all, gotten gussied up at the Bibbidi Bobbidi Boo boutique. I considered doing it once for Julia, but we didn't because it was too expensive, and she had brought her own princess dress and she had wild Merida hair and her Merida dress and she looked awesome. I think another time she wore her Frozen dress. So, she wore the dress to Disneyland, but we skipped the Bibbidi Bobbidi Boo boutique. Well, apparently when you walk up to the boutique, you encounter a fairy godmother. And in this case, it was a fairy godmother's apprentice. So before you get to the fairy godmother in the salon that does your hair and transforms you into a princess, you get to the fairy godmother's apprentice. And in this particular instance, it was the fairy godmother's apprentice was named Nick. And Nick was greeting people at the Bibbidi Bobbidi boutique. And he said, "So my name's Nick. I'm one of the fairy godmother's apprentices. I'm here to shop you around, make all your selections for the day." And that is what they encountered when they first went in. They thought nothing of it. It was they said it was a great experience. They had the best time, but Nick is wearing makeup. And, Nick is I'll just say, Nick is fabulous. You know what I mean? He is looking good. He's fun. He's engaged with the kids. You know, he's trying to make this a very special place for them, a special time and a special day. And I mean, that's great because if you're going to spend that much money on something, then great, good job. Because I want somebody like Nick there to make this experience, this thing special. Well, she posts this video to TikTok, I think it is. I think I can show you the video. She posts it to TikTok, and all of a sudden, there's hell to pay because the anti-drag people are freaking out over Nick. Nick, who's doing nothing but being amazing and trying to give this little girl a wonderful experience.
So my name's Nick. I'm one of Fairy Godmother's apprentices. I'm here to shop you around and make all your selections for the day.
There's Nick. There's a $250 dress section. There's the $450 dress section.
For Princess Finley? Hello, beautiful. I love your dress. It's very nice to meet you.
And so she goes in.
Are you excited?
Yeah.
I'm super excited.
We'll see that. So this is part of the whole thing. I probably can't play the music, but that's how it goes. But yeah, so let's go back to
selections for the day.
To Nick.
I'm one of Fairy Godmother's apprentices. I'm here to shop.
I think he looks amazing.
Selections for the day.
I don't know. I think he looks pretty great. So that's Nick, a fairy godmother's apprentice at Disneyland. So again, she posts this TikTok of her daughter doing the whole bibbidi bobbidi deal. And she forks out a pretty penny. I think she took the $250 option. And all of a sudden, you get the people freaking out over Nick, right? The fans now defending a male employee at the Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique in Disneyland after a video showed him dressed as a fairy godmother's apprentice. So far, that TikTok video has more than 8 million views, all because of a male presenting park employee named Nick greeting visitors at this children's boutique. Why is it a big deal? Honestly, conservative commentators throwing out some backlash at Disney. They say amidst an ongoing wave of anti trans sentiment toward gender inclusive advertising, they have received a bunch of hate over Nick. They said, TV host Sarah Gonzalez, stop taking your family to Disney. Think how many real girls want that job at Disney, and they gave it to him for a reason. Did they? Maybe they gave it to him because he's awesome. Maybe they gave it to him because he makes the experience special. He has a way about him that puts people at ease. He relishes the opportunity to make a little girl's day that she will never forget. Maybe that's why they gave him the job. Maybe it's hard to find people that will staff places at Disneyland, just like we talked about a few minutes ago, how it's hard to find workers right now. And maybe Nick is like, I'll do it. And he then gussies himself up and gets ready for the part because that's what Disney members are. They're cast members and they're playing a role. And he knows when he works at Bibbidi Bobbidi Boo instead of over at the Jungle Cruise ride or a restaurant or whatever other jobs he may take on day to day at Disneyland, if he's one of those flexible people that goes all over, that he has to play the role. So he goes and puts on some blush and knows that he's going to make a little girl's experience that day, right? Maybe that's all it is. Maybe it's not a big plot by Disneyland to put a trans person at Bibbidi Bobbidi Boo. God forbid. Now, stop taking your family to Disney. TV host Sarah Gonzalez, who's apparently on this show called The Rubin Report, trying to drum up some Disney boycott. But even despite her efforts, fans apparently are taking to social media to show their support for the Disneyland employee, saying Nick seems like an amazing person and one of the best at spreading the magic. I just fell in love with Nick, says another person. We need more Nicks in our world. This is actually a good thing, said someone else on the old Twitter. Representation matters and children should be able to know this is okay. Another person said they also had an interaction with Nick at Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique and said he was the sweetest. My daughter was worried about getting her nails done, and he was really good and patient with her. We had Nick. My girls loved him. He was so awesome, said someone else. In 2022, Disney said employees at Bibbidi Bobbidi will receive the gender neutral title change from fairy godmothers in training to fairy godmothers apprentices in an effort to be more inclusive. I love it. So you've got already backlash. You guys have seen it. Target, right? Kohl's, Adidas, the whole Bud Light flap over gender inclusive clothing and Pride Month collections. Target had to pull some Pride merchandise from their stores recently, I think, and from their website because their employees were being threatened by people who are getting nasty about it. Come on, people. Does it really affect you that much if there's a rainbow onesie for sale? Is it really going to change your life? That's what you choose to get upset over? Lord. There's a tuck friendly bathing suit option, greeting cards that use inclusive language. The horror. The horror of it all. Yeah. So they say, given these volatile circumstances, this is, I think, Disneyland. Oh, Target. Target said this. Given these volatile circumstances, we're making adjustments to our plans, including removing items that have been at the center of the most significant confrontational behavior, with people walking in and threatening their workers. Our focus is now moving forward with continuing commitment to the LGBTQIA plus community and standing with them as we celebrate Pride Month throughout the year. June 1st, it is officially Pride Month. Officially. They had Adidas facing criticism after they had a male presenting model wearing a women's swimsuit in their Pride Month campaign. Of course, conservatives said they're trying to erase women by using a man to advertise women's clothing. Okay, I don't really care who's wearing the swimsuit. Does it bother you? Doesn't bother me. So people love Nick at Disneyland, and now you've got him being pointed out in such a way. I kind of worry about his safety. If you've got people threatening at Target, I don't know. I don't want Nick to be at risk or Nick to feel bad. I hate that about these stories that, it he if I know about it, Nick knows about it. And I just want him to know that he is totally awesome and should not feel anything bad about what he's doing in the world for kids. YouTube user says, "How do we know Nick is even trans from just a video?" We don't. Maybe he's just a guy with makeup for the role he's playing. Correct, YouTube user. In the old theater days, men played all the roles, no roles, and nobody blinked an eye. We don't know. We absolutely don't know whether Nick wanted to work at Bibbidi Bobbidi because that's where his, personality most aligns with and he feels comfortable there and loves the job. Sounds like he works there a lot. We don't know. He could just be playing a role. Doesn't matter either way. People are mad that he's there and mad that he's wearing makeup. So in this case, it doesn't really matter that whether he's trans or whether he isn't, or what his real life persona is, doesn't matter. He's now a target just because of that. Vilma, Nick's a hardworking man. He is not grooming kids. Absolutely not, Vilma. You're right. Nick is trying to make sales. If it's only people with sick minds that convert costumes as a sign of grooming, that's right. It's just a blame game. It's a way to point the finger at someone, you know, be mad at something, anything that takes attention off your own life and your own failings, and a way to divert our attention from the important things going on in the world. They know what they're doing with all this. Jim says, those people toss death threats out like it's confetti during a parade. That's really scary. Have we forgotten, says Harry, about Milton Berle and Robin Williams? Mrs. Doubtfire, a run by fruiting. No, we haven't forgotten. Trevor and Concord piss off a Republican today. Wish them a happy Pride Month. Yes, yes, yes. Absolutely. Happy Pride Month. Agree. Jim says, the value of the experience of being at the center of attention is you get to pick to wear to be applauded. Jealous looking on, same as wedding dress shopping. No. Lori, who's a teacher, said I had a seventh grader who wore a feather boa to school often and would love to have gone there. I think that he would love to work there now. And you know what? Because when you have someone who is invested in looking fabulous, invested in uh, beautifying the world, they love what they do. You know, I don't know. I mean, it just doesn't matter to me. And I may have said something like this before, but I stand by it. Where when I go to, let's just say I go to a hairdresser, when you're talking about looking fabulous, right? Would I rather have a straight woman who gives me a decent haircut? Or would I rather go to a gay, trans, whatever person who is fun and amazing and also gives me the same exact haircut? I'll pick the fun over the boring time, I think. I don't know. I just don't care. I think people have way too much time on their hands to nitpick about a guy who's wearing blush. It does not hurt anybody. Find something real to care about. James says human sacrifice harms people. People dressing in a way that you don't approve of is harmless. It's kind of different. I would think so. How about complain about the cost of those dresses for kids? Full on Calvin Wong. They're made in China. They're I don't know if you've ever seen one of these dresses, but even the super expensive ones are a cheap satiny fabric. Many of them have netting that the kids stick their foot right through and rip, or little pins that fall off. It's an experience. It's part of the whole Disney experience, and I get it. Usually, maybe you do it once and never again. Again, we didn't do it, but I found a trunk of probably on the lower end dresses. Costco was selling them. Speaking of Costco, and there must have been like 10 Disney dresses. They had Belle, they had a Snow White dress in there. All of these dresses, and you could buy them in whatever small, medium, or large. Or so I bought this trunk of dresses, and I think it was like this is a long time ago. I think it was $40 or $50. Those dresses, man, they were like when kids came over to our house to play, everybody wanted to try on those dresses. "How did you get so many Disney dresses?" I'm like, "I can tell you I didn't pay $250 at the Bibbidi Bobbidi." That's Costco special, people. Yeah. Uh, but I wanted to bring that up because it's just so wrong. So, so wrong. Nick seems cool. Makeup is one thing, but Disney dressed him up as a female in a female dress. It's different from elves wearing makeup and male clothing. Hmm. I don't think so. I think he had on an apron, but let's say you're right. Let's say he was wearing a skirt. Who cares? I don't care if he's wearing a skirt. I don't think my kid is going to look at Nick and freak out. "Mommy, did you see that man wearing a skirt?" No. My child is going to walk into the Bibbidi Bobbidi with hand in hand with Nick and be overwhelmed by the sparkles and the Disney dresses and everything in that store and full on sensory overload. And the last thing they're thinking about is what Nick's wearing. They're thinking about Nick being awesome and kind and showing them around the store. So I don't think so. I really don't. And Nick may have been given an option. Wear the bibbity bobbity dress, wear the apron, wear the pants. We don't care. You do you. And I love that. As long as you wear the uniform, whatever iteration of the uniform it is, fine. Kim says, "I probably don't have a single clothing item that costs 450 bucks. You and me both, Kim. Maybe my wedding dress. Maybe. That's about it. It's stuck in the back of the closet somewhere." Uh, SF Tesla talking about the whole Target tuck swimsuit. A station like KFI, that's the Los Angeles station, wouldn't let the tuck pocket controversy pass. This isn't KFI. One more thing an angry woke mob can point at is this feature that they want not to see on kids' swimwear. Mm, no, it's not KFI. Um, and I don't normally listen to that station because I'm in Northern California, although I have listened to it sometimes when Mark Thompson is on. They seem to avoid politics and controversy. My friend Jennifer Jones Lee is on that station in the morning as well, doing news. Uh, I welcome all opinions on a talk show station. I think that's great. As long as if they're entertaining a tuck pocket controversy, that they welcome all different viewpoints. I think it's fine to talk about it. It's okay if you don't like it. It's okay if your opinion's different than mine. It's all right. We can agree to disagree. Deidre says, "My daughter would not have noticed that Nick is male." I agree with Anonymous. Karen says, "Yeah, how's it different? A costume's a costume." Truth. Wes says Nick is probably in danger from idiots. They also have Prince outfits. Nick chose the dress, and that's fine. That is a dress. Okay, it's a dress. Okay, fine. I think Nick looks awesome. I think just from the snippet of that video, if I walked up and Nick was there doing the same thing, I would be delighted. Delighted. He was awesome with that kid. Good. And no, just because you're awesome with a kid doesn't mean you're grooming. It means you're doing your job and being kind. You're giving the Disney experience. One thing I'll say though, Nick, you write that he's probably in danger from idiots, unlike Costco, who may have a security guard or two at the front. Disneyland security is no joke. You do something in Disneyland, it's like, I don't know if there's hidden cameras everywhere or what's going on. But it seems to me that if anything's happening in Disneyland, they know about it right away and they swoop in. I'm guessing Nick is in a safe space. So even if there are people that come with their big floppy mouths saying ridiculous things to him and being mean, he's probably going to have, you know, the ability of Disneyland security sweeping in and kicking people right out of that park. Calvin, leather jacket or cashmere sweater? I don't have either, actually. My mom gave me a cashmere scarf once, but I mean, how often do we wear a scarf? Maybe once in the winter? I don't know. It is a shame that KGO went away, but we're not completely away, are we? You've got themarkthompsonshow.com from 10 to 2 on YouTube and available recorded thereafter and via podcast. And you have this show. So maybe it went away in its, form where you had to listen to Cars for Kids spots in between 10 minutes of talk radio. But it's not completely away, and we're still sharing ideas and we're still doing the same thing we've always done. And I love that we're able to use this platform to do the same thing and to still carry on that discussion. It was Disneyland, Wes, in Anaheim. Yeah. Oh, because you're going to Disney World. That's cool. That would be awesome if you got a picture of it with Nick. But I think he's at Disneyland. But who knows who you'll find at the Bibbidi Bobbidi? You should check it out. Walk over there. You don't know. Anonymous says if a guy was able to drive a U-Haul truck into the White House, well, trust me, he didn't get into the White House. He drove it into the fence and was surrounded by secret security. I'm sure unique idiots will find a way into Disneyland, though hopefully not. There's idiots in Disneyland. You see them walking around. People who, don't realize it's a shared space and think everything is just for them. People who walk through the world with a selfish air about them. They're at Disneyland too. But again, I think Disneyland is a very well protected place. Um oh yeah, talking about plus we have John Rothman on, Chip Franklin, etc. That's right. Even Pat Thurston came on with us and Brett came on with us. So we're doing it. We got it going on. Nick, I came in the middle of this and thought, why are people talking about me? I'm sure you're fabulous too, Nick. We love you as well. Cheryl says, I'm actually able to listen more on this platform. I did love KGO though. I'm not going to lie. It's convenient to push a button in your car and have the radio come on. It is. I agree. You might have to jump through some more hoops to listen to us. You got to click on the YouTube app or download the podcast or do whatever. But I think once you get there, it's actually better than what we had because you don't have to sit through all the spots and maybe traffic you don't need or whatever else. So, yeah. Um, Kay in Santa Rosa said, I thought Nick looked great in a dress. I thought so too. Love that guy. And the next time I'm in Disneyland, maybe if I can convince my teenage daughter to bibbity bobbity boo it, it's a possibility. Pardon me. So I have time now to welcome my friend Jefferson Graham to the show. And so let's bring him on in. I'm frozen, Jefferson. Hi, how are you?
I'm not frozen.
You're not frozen. Look at how I froze. It's really unflattering.
Hey.
Look at that.
Okay. We have to do something about this.
Yeah.
This is happening every week. Why is it happening every week?
I don't know, but I need to fix it. I froze twice during the Mark Thompson show, but it wasn't a big deal because I could pop in and out. But now here I am, and there we go. So,
Okay.
but welcome to Jefferson Graham.
Yes.
Are amazing with your
Thank you.
Photo Walks TV and all the years you worked at USA Today doing tech stuff. And you have some tech stuff for us today. So, I wanted to
Okay.
talk to you about some of the things you had messaged me, a couple of stories that I thought were pretty interesting. And yeah, one of them was the Apple's developer conference that starts on Monday. I guess kind of like Meta, maybe they've got the new VR type of thing happening. What's going on?
Okay. It's called the Worldwide Developers Conference. Insiders call it WWDC or just DC.
Hey,
And
while you talk about it, I'm going to go in and out, okay?
Apple's
Okay,
been
go
doing
ahead.
Apple's been doing this for years. It was always a very exciting conference to cover because basically they would give you a clue of what the new iPhone was going to be like in June before they actually announced it in September because the iPhone is basically mostly software. It's software enhancements that make the new iPhone better than ever, at least so they say. And it also, some of these software enhancements work on your current iPhone as well. So the big attraction for me is always iOS 17, the latest version of the software and what some of the new things that are coming out. But the headline, which will be for most people, will be this new virtual reality, mixed reality, augmented reality headset, $3,000. They're saying it will cost,
That's a
and
lot.
you'll put it on your head and you'll play games. And Meta has just they came out with their announcement, their latest update too, which I think is in the hundreds of dollars, not in the thousands. They've been pushing what's it called, Quest, and for several years, and it actually does pretty well, and it is actually cool. But I can only wear a headset for so long. So
Mm.
when I've tried it, I'm good for maybe 10 minutes, but certainly not hours. Now, I am not a hardcore gamer. So I am the wrong person to be asking about how cool will a headset be. I could tell you that my perspective is I don't see this being a massive hit. This is their first basically new product since the AirPods and the first really big new product since the iPad or the Apple Watch, I should say. And it's going to be tough. But the thing that Apple has that no other company has is they have the Apple Store. They have hundreds of stores that are really really popular, and they can promote this product in the store, which Microsoft couldn't do. And Facebook tried having a store, and it came and went very quickly. But Apple has the platform to push this stuff.
I have I know someone, another parent at my child's school who works at the Meta virtual reality thing developing that. They're paying these people a lot of money to come up with stuff, and with this whole virtual reality world, and people, I guess, aren't buying it like they thought they would. So I know Meta had to cut prices. Now here comes Apple marching in with this $3,000 thing. I know there are people that love all things Apple products. So maybe the Apple aficionados will line up to buy it, but it seemed like an awful lot for that.
I think it's more of a proof of concept and showing what Apple could do and getting developers excited. These are the people that make the apps. That's who goes to these conferences. The next Instagram, the next Snapchat,
Right.
things like that, the next Uber, they all came out of that conference and people wanting to use the iPhone platform to make money. So if Apple can get all these developers to come up with really great stuff, then that's going to make this headset more exciting. Now, I don't know if you've ever put on the Quest headset. It is great. I mean, you put it on and you're in Italy and you do things, it's like going to an IMAX movie or wearing 3D glasses, but 10 times the excitement. But again, only for so long. Your kids would be the target audience,
Yeah.
but you ain't spending $3,000 on this thing, right?
No, 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 I just wouldn't do that. I don't know. And do we want to be stuck in a virtual world when you take the headset off and, there's the real world? Do we really want to escape that much for that long and for that much money?
Not me. So
No.
I'm all ears, and I can't wait to hear the justification for this when it comes out. I still think they're several years too early. They're certainly way too expensive, but electric cars were expensive when they came out too, right? And
Yeah.
I think I read that the Tesla is now the number one best-selling car in America, which is very
Wow.
that happened.
Valuable for. And maybe if you were someone who had mobility issues, but you love travel and you really wanted that experience of feeling like you were truly somewhere else, that it could allow someone who couldn't go to those places they loved in their life to be there once again to experience that type of thing. But that's maybe a stretch. That's all I can really think
Well,
of.
I'm sure it'd be very, very nice for that
Yeah.
person who can't travel. Whether that person's going to spend 3 grand and then all the software that's going to be needed to operate it. So I'm interested to see how the iPhone is part of this headset and how you use it. And you're going to be making calls on the headset. Are you going to be booking an Uber ride on the headset?
I don't think so. I don't know. Um, you wanted to also talk, you were mentioning the Apple photo stream.
Yeah, this is a very little odd thing, but before there was an iCloud,
Yeah.
Apple it unveiled this thing called My Photo Stream, which was a way for you to share photos and get them on multiple Apple devices. And people hearing me talk about this are probably saying, "Really? I don't. I only use iCloud. I don't know about My Photo Stream." Well, they announced that My Photo Stream was closing, and the big surprise to everybody else was they didn't know it was even there. So it's a oddball photo sharing site that only the pictures only last for 30 days, but it's a way for you to get them on multiple devices, and it's basically been superseded by iCloud. So I thought it was a good opening for us to really discuss where else besides iCloud to share your photos and store them. And I'll just throw the question to you: how all the pictures that are on your phone, Kim, where are they, and where else are they besides the phone?
So they're on the phone and they're in Google Pictures. And recently, I don't know if I did this right. I signed up to be the photographer at the junior high dance. So I go and I'm standing by the photo wall and I'm taking pictures of groups of kids and their wacky poses and whatever else. And I have maybe 80, 90 pictures at the end of the evening. And I'm supposed to upload them to some type of site and then share it. So I uploaded them to Google Pictures and then I shared a Google Picture album. Somebody else who had taken pictures at the outside of the event was had put theirs on a Google Drive. So I don't know what the best way to do that is, and maybe you have a better photo sharing app that you can suggest because I don't know if everyone uses that. Is it hard for them to get into the Google photo album? I don't know.
Well, Google Photos and Google Drive are actually one and the same, so they all went to the same place.
Okay.
Google Drive is nice when you have big files, and then you can just sort of share privately. What isn't great is unless you click the button that says "Make this available to everybody," most people will end up getting an email saying, Kim has some pictures for you, and then you'll click it, and then they'll say you don't have access. Go ask Kim for access, and it's
Oh,
kind of a pain in the butt. But
yeah.
Google Photos, fine. Did you created an album, I assume, and just
Yeah.
shared the album?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's that, and there's I always mention that Amazon Prime, anybody who's a Prime member gets access to Amazon Photos for free, and
Mhm.
that's unlimited storage. Google is not unlimited storage, and when you're paying for Google storage, Google Photos and Google Drive, you're also part of that storage is also Gmail, and if you go over your limit, then you can't open up your email and you can't respond to people. And I've been in that situation. It's not fun. And then the drop, basically, you're looking at $10 a month for Google Photos, Google Drive, Dropbox, um, and Apple's iCloud. The great thing about iCloud is it works really easily. They just automatically back up all your pictures on the cloud. The bad news is that they also send you messages. You've run out of room on your iPhone, and you better start deleting things right away. And if you
Yeah.
delete pictures off your iPhone, they get deleted off iCloud at the same time, and
Oh,
that's a scary thing.
huh. That's interesting.
You didn't know that, huh?
No. I thought when I took a picture on my iPhone and I was waiting for it to show up in Google Pics and it took a long time. longer than I thought it should. I thought it was instantaneous.
Oh, well, that's Google versus iCloud,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, different. Have you read speaking of Google, did you read the story this week that they are downsizing their presence in the Bay Area? That they have all this office space they're offloading. It's almost 1.5 million square feet of office space in Silicon Valley. So all these tech companies are just cutting back with the whole office space thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't see the story, but it doesn't surprise me because once people got a taste of not commuting to work, they don't want to, they don't want to go back to it. And as you know, Bay Area, those morning drives to Mountain View are not pretty.
No.
So if you could live without it, why not? And
Yeah.
the benefit of working at Google was that you got free massages and great food and tennis courts and gyms and all that stuff. And
Yeah.
but if you said to me, what's your trade-off? Driving in the morning and being stuck, going nowhere, or getting that free stuff? I'd vote for working at home, wouldn't you?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I would vote for working at home. They say that they'll take a $500 million loss in order to reduce their global office space. But here's what's interesting to me. And maybe it's because of the whole live where you work thing. But even though they're subleasing almost 1.5 million square feet of office space, they still plan to build a mega campus in San Jose. And the Google mega campus will have thousands of living spaces, millions of square feet of office space, business, parks, recreation, all that. So they're still going to build that. And I don't really like if people are living where they want to live or they're now out of state or maybe, out of the Bay Area and they're enjoying doing that and still working and doing what they do, why would you want to build this mega campus?
That's the one where they're tearing down the theme park and they're building that campus there, right?
I don't know if it's the theme park place. I'm not sure what's leaving in order for them to build
Yeah,
there.
because that to me was one of the most startling stories that you would take a theme park and raise it to the ground to put up an office building. And yeah, that was the announcement. And they basically said it's so perfectly situated that all the trains could get right there. You
Yeah.
could live there and walk out the door and go to Yahoo, Google, was what whatever, Apple, or be very close to those places. Super Mario.
Who's that calling? Who gets the Super
Uh,
Mario song?
that's a spammer. That's a
Oh, is
spammer.
that? That's
That
funny.
was spam. So but there's a difference between San Jose, which is so close to Mountain View, and being on the other side of Mountain View and having to go in. And the San Francisco buildings, certainly,
Yeah.
people up there probably just prefer staying up there. Here in LA, where I'm based, they took over a shopping mall and they turned it into Google offices, and then they changed their mind, and apparently now it's a skate park. A
Oh,
three-story skate park in a
that's
former
kind of
shopping
sweet.
mall. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, another story I wanted to throw at you
Yes.
today, if you don't
Yes.
mind.
I don't mind at all.
Uh, OpenAI is
Mhm.
proposing a new way to fight artificial intelligence hallucinations. Who knew that was a thing? Hallucinations happen when AI models like ChatGPT deliver completely made up information. Some independent experts, the story says, are skeptical about OpenAI's new research paper that offers ideas to help prevent these hallucinations.
Okay, why not? It's pretty crazy stuff. I told you a few weeks ago about how that ChatGPT mentioned a book that they said I wrote that I never wrote, and then I said, "Well, okay, fine. Would you write it for me?" And then it actually wrote an incredible 10-chapter outline that was at first glance really, really good. And the second glance, it was crapola. But the fact that they could spit out this book, it was called Photo Nation, by the way,
Mhm.
and all the chapters. I mean, I could take that and I could rewrite
Redo.
all the chapters,
Yeah.
but at least it told me what chapters to do, and I said, "Oh, that's pretty good." It's very weird. But I was,
Well,
and then the Photoshop thing. Did we talk about they added AI to Photoshop, and you can now say, "Here's a picture of the sand. Put an Eiffel Tower in the middle of the sand, or
yeah.
put a pin on my jacket, and do all sorts of crazy things." And I've been playing around with that, and people have been
Yeah,
going
well,
crazy.
they're putting OpenAI on all these apps like Canva, and all these photo apps. So now there's this whole new technology where people can go in and tamper with things. But one of the things I thought was interesting about this whole hallucinations thing is they're giving it a name. It's wrong. I mean, their information is wrong. So their technology is making mistakes. And instead of just saying, we're going to fight OpenAI mistakes or mistaken information, they're calling it OpenAI hallucinations. So by saying a mistake is a hallucination, does it kind of take the sting out of the fact that OpenAI isn't perfect and it's wrong sometimes?
Well, it certainly is wrong sometimes. So it's not a bad idea for them to remind people that it's not the gospel. And just because they see it there doesn't mean that it's necessarily true, and to look at things with a skeptical eye.
Very skeptical eye, whether they call it a hallucination or whether they call it a screw up. So here's a story out of Twitter today. There's a new report that shows Twitter has not been removing hate speech posted by accounts that subscribe to Blue Twitter. Are they
Mm.
doing it maybe because people are coughing up the cash? Maybe they get a little more leeway. I don't know. But the nonprofit Center for Countering Digital Hate said its researchers gathered tweets from 100 verified paid Blue Twitter accounts and reported them to the social media platform. It reported that Twitter did not act on 99% of the flagged tweets, and all accounts remained active as of 4 days later. The organization picked out tweets making racist, homophobic, transphobic, or anti Semitic comments. Why do you think Twitter isn't acting
I don't
on
think they
that?
care. I don't think Elon Musk
Oh,
cares, and he's happy that people are using it. And it's very weird. It's a cesspool. I've never seen any app change so fast in my lifetime. And right now, I don't know what your Twitter is like, but I sort of see the same tweets from the same three people every day, and that's about it. I don't see the garbage. Maybe just because I have a photocentric sort of feed, and I don't get into politics, so that's
yeah.
why I'm not seeing the hate. But from everything I've read, hate is alive and well on Twitter.
Unfortunately, it is. And, I think you had Elon Musk talking about how important free speech was. And
Yeah,
so, when you compare free speech with hate speech, I still think there's a big difference. And so, it's unfortunate to see that he's not taking steps to, I don't know, police Twitter, but at least make it a more palatable place for people to spend time. Because even before this, there was a lot of stuff on there that was negative and angry anyway.
yeah.
So
Well,
now it's even worse.
you're dealing with somebody with a thin skin, who, if he was criticized on Twitter, he would ban you. So you can't go based on anything that he said, because it's who know I mean, who knows what's going to happen to Twitter? I thought it would be gone by now, and whether anyone buys it is another story. I think it'll just morph into something else, but who
We
knows?
were we were talking earlier about an economic slowdown, and Macy's and Costco are both saying their customer spending habits are changing. But there's another story today that also kind of harkens to an impending economic slowdown as well. And it is that companies, some of them, are cutting costs by pulling job offers from prospective employees, fearing a slowdown in the economy is coming. NBC News is reporting that companies like Meta, Amazon, and this crypto firm called Coinbase have all acknowledged pulling recent job offers. New numbers from LinkedIn show hiring for entry level roles down 37% for those without a college degree, even more for those with a college degree. So these big tech jobs, they may offer you a job and then they might yank it right out from underneath you.
Yeah, and it's happened, and people have moved. They sold their house and prepared to move, and went and got a lease on a new place, only to find out that there was no job waiting for them. Tough.
It's a bummer. I mean, you think when you see all these stories, we're headed for trouble?
I don't know. I think it's just I've lived through these before, and they always come out on the other side. I think they just got way overstaffed, and there was just too many people and too top heavy, and they're just doing a course correction now. Facebook is a different Meta is a different story. They decided to morph into virtual reality, and
Yeah.
they have this idea about this metaverse that nobody seems to agree with them about. That's going to be the next big thing, when clearly AI is the next big thing.
Yeah.
So they're doing their own course correction. Amazon is its own animal based on selling products. Maybe people aren't buying as many products as the prices get higher, and as you know, as inflation hurts everybody. So that's them. And Google, their situation is advertising sales. Advertising sales are softer, so they're cutting back. And Apple hasn't cut back. It'd be really interesting on Monday when we get a lay of the land from Apple, which is one of the reasons I like WWDC, is you get the idea of where they're going, what's new, what's coming, and it's a good report card for the company. A good sneak peek.
You mentioned OpenAI again, and I was reading this story a couple days ago about the CEO. I think his name is Sam Altman.
Altman, yeah.
Yeah, and I don't I think it was him, had his personal fortune increase like a gazillion dollars in one day because of OpenAI and, people valuing AI and what happened with that. Have you heard
Yeah.
that?
Well, it's not the only. I mean, these happen all the time, right?
Yeah,
Like, didn't his fortune go down by 25% when some
in
story
one
came out?
day,
Yeah,
yeah.
then it goes back up, and I think Meta had bad earnings, and then Zuckerberg lost like half a billion dollars, and then he got it back. That's a Wall Street thing? So
Yeah, it's speaking of Wall Street thing, there's a story out of the Motley Fool that says, it's a prediction that these 6 AI stocks will be worth a combined $20 trillion dollars with a T by 2030. There's 6 of them. AI's big 6, they say. And yeah, Apple,
eh,
Microsoft, Alphabet, Amazon, Nvidia. It's Nvidia that, by the way, had their stocks shoot up, and Meta.
okay, so it's the FANG. It's the
Yeah,
FANG index plus Nvidia.
yeah. They expect their quarter 2 revenue to jump 64% year over year because of the demand for AI chips. It is a monster winner for Nvidia so far this year.
Yeah. When I left USA Today in 2021, and we weren't allowed to own stock, and I said when I left, I'd be happy just putting, a gazillion dollars with Apple and Amazon and Google, and just letting it sit there for the next 2 decades. I didn't, because I don't want to play the stock market, but I still think Apple is going to be way bigger in 20 years than it even is today.
Wow.
And I think Google will be fine. I think Amazon will be fine, but particularly Apple. Uh, they're not letting people go. They haven't been hit by the recession. They're still selling a gazillion iPhones. And as we morph into the headset, I don't see the headset uh, making the iPhone obsolete in any way.
Wes writes in, I just asked the Bing AI who Jefferson Graham is. It said Jefferson Graham is a tech columnist for USA Today. Well, I should say was, not is,
Was,
right?
right? Uh-huh.
And the host of the Talking Tech audio and video series.
Was, yeah.
He is also a photographer, true, and the producer host of Photo Walks Travel Photography. Well, it's Photo Walks TV, but okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
And then if Wes says, "Tell me more," the paragraph gets even better.
He says there was more, but the chat box only takes 200 characters. He didn't want to post the whole thing. Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah, the second paragraph that they came up with me is pretty good, and then they put me in places that I have traveled the world. I have photographed everywhere from India and Hong Kong and France, and I mean, half of the places yes, and half of the places no. So, but I appreciate it, and I'd love to get there.
SF Tesla asks, can't AI play the markets for us? If we all use AI to invest in the stock market, are we going to be rolling in dough too?
Oh, I don't know. I don't. I have no idea about the stock market. I had my experience when I was younger with some stocks that I bought, and then and after
Oh,
that, I said I'd never again, and I just do
no.
mutual funds and just leave it there.
There is a story out of San Francisco, and I don't know if you have an opinion on this. It's also more of a financially story.
Hmm.
But there is a big retail vacancy in San Francisco, and we're seeing
Yeah.
all these businesses leave the city. But San Francisco has a retail vacancy tax, and it went into effect last year, but about 26% of owners and tenants haven't paid it yet. According to data released this week, the tax is $250 per foot of a
Oh,
property's outdoor street frontage for the first year, 500 the second year, 1,000 per foot the third year.
oh.
Critics of the tax say it's not an effective way to solve the retail vacancy problem, which has exploded during the pandemic. So, if you leave your retail space vacant in San Francisco, you're going to pay, right now, at least the very beginning of this, $250 per foot of your outdoor street frontage.
How long? So if I
Well,
close my business,
that's the first
if I
first
close
year.
my if I close my business on June 1st and say I've had
Mhm.
enough, the theft is too much, and I can't take it anymore. How long do I have to pay that tax?
Well, it depends. Do you own the building?
No,
The landlord.
most
The
people don't.
it's the people that own the building that are stuck with
Oh,
it. If they don't fill that building up again, they're paying the tax.
okay.
So you can't leave a retail building sitting vacant. You have to try to get somebody else in there.
Okay. Well, so there's too many landlords who kick businesses out to raise their rent and get more money. So
Mhm.
it's really on that person to fill the slot. But then what do you do when nobody wants to rent it at any price? That person is being screwed. How to solve the situation in San Francisco? Get rid of the mayor, get rid of this, get rid of all the officials and start over again. I've been saying this for 3, 4 years. Admit there's a problem and come up with a solution. I never hear any solutions coming out of the people that are running the city. The problems have only gotten worse as far as theft. I mean, I think Kim, we've talked about. I had my camera gear stolen on a shoot when I was
Yeah.
in San Francisco, and while I was doing the shoot, and many other people have had thefts as well. And Whole Foods just closed because they said there was just the shoplifting was out of hand,
Yep.
and a lot of other stores have closed due to
Old
shoplifting. And
Navy, Gap, Nordstrom's, T-Mobile, massive footprints in Union Square for T-Mobile, shut it down. Yeah.
yeah, when are they going to admit that they have a problem? Usually the city officials will say it's not as bad as they say. It's misunderstood. It's the media sensationalizing. Oh, we don't have a vacancy problem. Vacancies are fine, right? They
Yeah.
have to start by admitting they have a problem and then try to fix it.
Well, today they released an advertisement for the city of San Francisco. It's a $6 million 60-second ad with people dancing out on the Embarcadero and driving across the Golden Gate Bridge and dancing in the Castro and come to San Francisco. Always San Francisco. Okay.
Yeah, just don't rent a car and park in any of those places because your window will be smashed in. And because the rental cars, that's what thieves love is the rental cars because they know you're
So
from out of town. Yeah.
here's another story. And do you have a ring, like a ring camera?
I have had one, but
Okay.
the battery ran out, and I couldn't open it up to replace it.
So Amazon's video doorbell division Ring is now agreeing to pay this fine for mishandling customers' videos. Uh-oh. The tech giant reaching a settlement with the Federal Trade Commission that will see it pay $6 million just about. The FTC said Ring employees and contractors had unrestricted access to customers' sensitive video data for their own purposes. So Ring will now be required to let customers know how much access to their data the company and its contractors actually have, which
Yeah.
makes me wonder, how safe is it, to camera up your house with all these, because some people put that stuff inside. They have the cameras inside the Ring camera or whatever that you can access on the web. How safe is it to have, you get the Ring camera for security at the front of your house. And then could it be misused? Could it be, oh, look, we see them pulling out of their driveway. That means no one's home. Send in the thieves. You don't know what's happening at the other end of the Ring camera.
You don't know what's happening, and you also know that they can't be trusted because when these concerns have been raised for years, and Amazon would say, "Oh, it's very little. Don't worry, we don't do anything with it. It's just for our algorithm or whatever." It's the price you pay. It's just like you know what you're getting into. You're putting a camera in front of your house that records people, and then you're paying a monthly fee to record them, and you know that Amazon is then looking at all your videos. It's just like every time you say the A word to the Amazon speaker, you know that everything is being recorded in your home. That was also part of the FTC fine. And you know that you can't ask Amazon to stop recording you. They tell you that you can go in and you could check your settings and do all this sort of stuff. But no matter how many times you maneuver it, Amazon still is doing it. You know that every time you do a search on Google, they're learning more about you. They're learning about where you
Mhm.
live and what you buy and all that stuff. That's the price we're paying for using their services.
I'm frozen in time again, but I along the same lines, I wanted to say that this is gonna make me sound crazy paranoid. I think my phone's listening to me. Because there are times that I don't type in a search on Google, and I swear to you, what I have just mentioned to you, like, maybe I don't have a Ring camera, I've
But
never
you
searched
see a
for
Ring
Ring,
ad. You see a
and then
Ring ad.
all of a sudden, Ring has come up on my phone just because you and I are talking about it. Like, it hears what I'm saying. I didn't type it in, we didn't talk about it via email, but all of a sudden, it hears what I'm saying. Is that
Well,
weird?
every time they've been asked that question, they deny it every which
Mm,
way, and say it's just a coincidence. But it
yep.
also because their algorithm is so damn good, and they know how old you are, they know where you live, they know who your friends are, they know what your friends buy, so they assume that you're also buying the same thing, that you've talked about it. Maybe your friend bought a ring, and things like that are why those things show up. I do the same. The thing that drives me crazy is online, and I'll go look up something and then it follows me for a month everywhere I go, every website I go, that same product
Yeah.
is showing up. It's like, why? It's just crazy.
And they got ya. I think it's listening. I really believe it is. I know I sound like the crazy lady, but I think they're listening to you. Okay, while I go in and out again, I want to tell you about this story and have you comment on it. And
Yes.
thank you for sticking with me for a hot minute.
No problem.
Spirit Airlines is saying travelers could experience longer lines today because of a technical issue. The budget airline saying the issue today brought down their website,
Oh,
their app, their airport kiosks, all happened this morning. Spirit tweeting out passengers should plan on arriving to the airport early because they got to deal with all this. The company hasn't revealed any details related to this technical issue, but it looks like one of those software things that just affects everything that we saw happen to what was it, Southwest? It happened
yeah,
to, and they had a
Southwest,
big
right.
closure, but it's
Thanksgiving, right?
also happened to United in the past as well. So if you want to comment on that, I'll in and out it again.
Thank you.
Okay.
Are we still there? Somebody
Yeah.
Siri decided to tell me when Thanksgiving was. Okay. I went on Spirit Airlines in March, and it was brutal, actually. The lines were ridiculously long, and you buy a ticket, you have a question, you try calling them, they don't answer the phone, they don't answer email, they don't answer the chat, all sorts of issues. But actually, once I got on the flight, it was fine. Okay. The flight was fine. I don't know what it's going to be like today, but um, you get what you pay for. And the only thing is that I flew it to Columbus, Ohio, because we were going to Columbus, Ohio, and it was
Yeah.
the only airline that flew direct there. So that's why I went on Spirit.
Yeah. Why is so many problems with software for airlines? Is it such a big, effort and there's so many moving parts that they're just more glitchy than other software, or what's the
Well,
problem?
what they said about Southwest back when that happened was that the company just had not invested in infrastructure and in the software, in doing upgrades and more computers and all the things that they needed as our lives changed in the digital age. And clearly Spirit would be having that same issue.
Okay, the last story I want to throw at you is something that kind of marries two things that you're really interested in:
Yeah.
tech and then also news. So there's a story today that says a new bill could lead to Facebook and Instagram blocking news in California. It's the threat from Meta if this proposal passes. The story says it would require tech companies to pay a journalism fee for content from local outlets. Publishers would also have to spend most of the money on creating journalism jobs across the state. The lawmaker behind the effort claims Meta has used this scare tactic before, saying it's egregious that one of the wealthiest companies in the world would rather silence journalists than face any regulation.
Right. Facebook Meta has said they will just not post. They will not run the website in California if this law goes through. I don't believe them. They should pay. They make billions of dollars off articles, and they should pay heavily. So that's my stance on that. Whether
Well,
this goes through is another story. With
yeah.
lobbying and pulling it off, I don't know that this bill will get passed, but sounds good to me.
Well, I've read that a lot of people say they get their news from Facebook.
Yeah.
That is where they get their news from, or even Instagram or TikTok. So these companies are profiting off of the work of journalists who are also struggling because a lot of advertisement revenue is down, as saw retail revenue down. So advertising revenue is down. Journalism is hurting because journalists are being cut right and left. And so you won't have people to tell the stories, to even put the stories on the websites like Facebook or Instagram or what have you. And so doesn't it make sense that Facebook or Meta would want to give a kickback to the people that are putting up the content that are making them money?
Got to keep the shareholders happy. I actually think it's worse with Google. I think more people would get their news from Google than with Facebook. And I don't know about you, but and then some people get their news from YouTube. But
Yeah.
in this case,
Like
they're
me.
not just.
I mean, I'm doing news on YouTube,
Yeah,
right?
but you're not taking the article that somebody wrote and then just sending it out under the
Right.
Facebook banner. That's at least you're digesting it and you're giving it your spin. So
Yeah.
that's I think a different situation.
Well, and I also
go ahead.
always attribute as well.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Now, Kim, I have 2 songs for you today.
Oh, yay! What do you have?
2 songs.
I missed you on the Mark Thompson show today, so
they said they were overbooked. They were overbooked. Who took my spot?
You got the
Who was
bump?
there? Yeah, I was bumped.
There was a producer that was responsible for Hell's Kitchen. He was on today, and that was a really interesting interview.
Okay.
And then we ran a recorded version of a nun story that we thought was really funny. So I'm sorry, my bad.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Jefferson Graham.
It wasn't your decision.
I'm giving you the time now.
Okay. Does your audience like to guess the songs? By the way,
I think we like to guess the song, right, guys?
Okay.
Let's do it. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Is this a TV theme?
Yes. Thank you, Eric. All shiny and new.
Yeah,
And
awesome.
I have another song that I've been working on. It's an old one, but it's
Okay.
sort of my motto of life. And I think you'll all know it. Karen got it. Karen
Yeah.
D.
She's the only one, too. The only one who got it.
Okay. Did you know that, Kim? Did you know that song?
I knew, like, it was familiar, but I couldn't place it, so I failed. It was a full-on fail.
It's an oldie but goodie, and I'm really big on oldies but goodies. Do you know this
Wes
one?
said, like me, it's
Before your time, right?
I kind of knew it, but I was afraid to say it. Karen again, I ain't misbehaving. Saving my love for you, baby. Behaving. Love it. Yay! Woo!
That's Waller. That's Waller.
That's
I'm big on
awesome.
1930s tunes. Yeah.
You did get a question from Sherry Warren Art, who says she wants to know if you saw the Paul Simon special last night on CBS. Maybe she thought it was really good. I don't know.
I didn't see it, but I'd love to see it.
Hello, darkness, my old friend. Oh, the sound of silence.
Yes, Paul Simon.
Awesome.
There you
So
go.
good. Wonderful. Yeah. Hello, darkness or sound of silence. So good. I love
Sound,
when you
sound of
play guitar.
silence.
I love it.
Thank you.
I Am Tongi, who is this year's American Idol winner, sang that song during the competition. Did you see his rendition?
I didn't
So
see.
good. It was so good. Yeah, I loved it. Um, so yeah, so thank you for that. I missed your guitar
Sure.
playing on Mark's show today. I love when you do that, and I love when you stop by. You're not doing your show today, is that correct?
No, I'm not doing it because I've got my big trip coming up on July 4th, and
Okay.
I know I won't be doing the live show in July. So I'm actually doing it tomorrow at 10 Pacific time. If anybody would like to tune in, Rich DeMuro, who is the tech reporter from Channel 5 here in Los Angeles, he's going to join me, and he shoots all of his TV stories now on the iPhone. We're going to talk
Oh,
about that.
wow. And that's TV
Yeah,
quality?
yeah.
That's crazy. You would think he would have a fancy camera person and a fancy camera out in this world to film.
He has a fancy camera person who shoots on the iPhone.
That is wild. I can't wait to hear it. I might have to catch the replay because the Mark Thompson show's at
Yeah,
10. You're
you're
going to be going
gonna be
head to
busy.
head. You
Okay.
know, you and Mark. It's Mark versus Jefferson. Who will win the
Yeah,
battle of YouTube?
I think Mark will win. First of all, he's got the
Jefferson,
voice. He's got the
mm,
voice, and he's got the sound effects.
but he doesn't play the guitar.
Okay.
You know, he doesn't have the tech knowledge. Just saying.
Okay.
I'm on your side here. You should
Thank
really
you.
be
Thank
siding
you.
with me. Thank,
Yes.
thank you very
Yeah.
much.
Thank you. Next week, give me some requests, and I'll play. Particularly from the Great American Songbook. I know a lot of them.
Awesome. Jefferson Graham, thank you for coming by the Nikki Maduro show. We adore you. Thank you for
Thank
being
you.
here.
Okay. Bye bye.
Absolutely. Jefferson Graham, everybody. Wonderful of him to come by the show. I really love when he plays guitar. He's so magical. He starts playing the guitar. I could just listen to him for hours and hours and hours. So good. And so I always love his take on the tech stuff as well. If you had anything you wanted to talk about regarding those tech stories that we were discussing, I'm going to go back and see if you had any interesting comments about all that. Oh, I think, we had mentioned, oh, there I am frozen again. I'll tell you guys what. So frustrating. But and asked if anybody had thoughts about the citizenship issue, the birthright citizenship, and former President Trump's now intent, should he be elected again, to wipe it away, even though it's a constitutionally granted right to people born in America, with the stroke of a pen in an executive order. So I don't know. Does that mean we can wipe away the right to bear arms with a stroke of a pen? Look at that. You just wipe away the whole Constitution with a stroke of a pen. Why not? Um, so a lot of people were mentioning their thoughts on that, but the responses are a little bit scattered. So if you could repost them now, that would be amazing so that I have them all in one spot. I would love to see what you have to say about it. I saw a kind of a scattering of thoughts. Here's one from DL Wong. There are children of US citizens born in a foreign country who, when the family comes back, need to register their children. Are not children born here required to get a social security number? I think any American citizen is required to get a social security number, is how it works. And I believe that if you are born to parents that are an American citizen, even if you're not born on American soil, you are considered an American citizen. And um, you there is a rule that says if you were born on foreign soil, you can't run for president in America. So I think that would follow, but I think if you have a parent that's a US citizen, you're still automatically a US citizen. But I've never gone through that process, so I don't know how it works, how you register or notify the government that you've had a baby and pick a country and you want citizenship for them. Not sure how that all works. Um Oh, Liz says, "I think they can register at any US embassy." That would make sense. Yeah. So, um, okay. Well, looking at your comments, I'm not seeing anything jump out that, anyone had a lot to say about that birthright thing. I was hoping you guys would have more of a discussion on that, but it's okay. I understand. I just have been thinking about it a lot, and I don't mind it. Yeah, I don't mind at all that if you're born here, that you get citizenship here. It doesn't bother me. I don't have a problem with it. If an immigrant does not give birth at a hospital, how can they prove their child was born here? It's one of the problems with a lot of immigrants who maybe had children as they were crossing. They weren't at a medical facility. They don't have documentation. Um, did I find out whether anchor baby is a negative term? I did not find out whether anchor baby is a negative term. Clearly, I have not done my homework. You know who I need to call and ask is Courtney. She knows. She will be able. She's the arbiter of all things that are okay to say and that are not okay to say. So I need to ask Courtney is what I need to do. Yeah. The 14th Amendment was a remedy for the debt ceiling. Biden didn't use it, but Trump picked up the citizenship birthright. Write off the Constitution, dissolve the Galactic Senate, Trump's no Emperor Palpatine. Karen says, yes, we implemented that law because we needed to grow our country. And that was my question to you yesterday. Do we need it anymore? Do we need it anymore? Karen says anchor baby is acceptable, I think. Karen says anchor baby is a term regarded by some as a pejorative from Wikipedia. I think it is. I think it can be a negative connotation to that. Um, so yeah, we need to figure that out. And it is a question, Wes, whether you can prove that you were born here. But I think a lot of people that maybe were born here, maybe in a home or at a non-medical setting, they have to prove it. And if you can't prove it, then you don't get the citizenship. You can't just say, "Oh, my baby was born at a house." There's no corroboration by an ambulance driver or a certified medical professional. So you have to prove it. So I don't think that works. Karen asking, what's really wrong with the 14th Amendment as it stands? A lot of people, she says, are desperate to get here and work. We need low wage workers to do the jobs other Americans won't do. These folks are also looking for safety. Yes, true. If that term is ill advised, then Trump wouldn't woke use it. Lloyd's Key says maybe a good idea to have stipulations as far as the parents are concerned for citizenship and their child. I I don't know. I mean, it just doesn't seem. I think some people may be born here and it's lovely that they have US citizenship and maybe they go off home to their countries with their parents and they never come back or they never use it and they have a great story to tell. Hey, I'm a US citizen. Check this out. Or maybe it's the whole reason you came to America. If you want to be here that bad, if you want US citizenship for your child that badly, I don't know that I want to deny it to you. I really don't. I think it's all right. I've read that it has outlived its purpose, this whole birthright citizenship. But I don't think you ban it for a racist reason. I just don't. I don't think that's right. Another story to bring up to you today. Here comes Bill Cosby trotting right back to the news again. There is a new accuser that is now stepping up to accuse Bill Cosby. Here we go. It's like he gets out of jail and then somebody else. Is he going back into jail? I don't know. I just don't know. But now there is a former playmate that is suing Bill Cosby for allegedly doing what? Raping and drugging. Same thing. It's the same old song and dance over and over and over again. And is anyone surprised? I guess is the question. You know, I mean, how many other women have come forward? I wonder, though, why she didn't come forward earlier. So here's a picture of course, Mr. Cosby. A little fuzzy, sorry about that. But let me read you the story. There's a new accuser suing Bill Cosby over an alleged sex assault. A former Playboy playmate says the comedian drugged and raped her in 1969. Victoria Valentino seeking unspecified damages for sex assault and battery. She says Cosby attacked her in Los Angeles while he was starring in the TV show I Spy. A lawyer for Cosby has not yet commented. In the past, of course, though, he has denied assaulting women. So here he is hit with another lawsuit. This is just not something that is going to go away. There is a new California law that temporarily lifts the statute of limitations on civil sexual assault cases, so not criminal. This woman came forward a decade ago and she accused Cosby of raping and drugging her then, and now she's filing this civil suit. She says, he exploited me when I was at my lowest point and I was consumed by grief. Not only did he assault me, but the trauma caused my career in the performing arts to completely derail. She is now 80 years old, Cosby 85. She said the trauma he inflicted upon me, not only me, affects me, but my children and my grandchildren as well. She said in 1969, she ran into Cosby at this restaurant in LA where she told him she was grieving the loss of her 6-year-old son. She says in this lawsuit, Cosby laid out pills in front of her and said the drugs would make everything feel better, pretending to ingest a pill himself. And then, allegedly, brought her and her friend back to his office where both women were disoriented by these drugs. And it became apparent to Valentino that Cosby was going to sexually assault her friend. She stepped in to stop him, which upset him, she says. He became angry and exasperated by her trying to stop him from attacking her friend. He stood up, walked toward the plaintiff with a terrifying expression on his face. She tried to stand up, she says, but her legs wobbled and buckled underneath her. She reached out to grab him to prevent her from falling to the floor. And I guess he responded by sexually assaulting her. Yep, forcing her. And then, after he was finished, he told the two friends, call a cab, allegedly. More than 60 women have accused Cosby of sexual assault or misconduct. Many of those cases are kind of being stopped by the statute of limitations. I don't, I don't know what to say, I guess. Despite the criminal case and him having served time and then being let out of jail, that he is not immune to these civil cases being brought against him. So you remember he was convicted in 2018 of aggravated indecent assault, sentenced to 10 years in prison. But in 2021, the court overturned his conviction, citing a previous deal that had been made not to charge him and then released him. In 2022, a court ruled in favor of a woman who accused Cosby of sexually assaulting her when she was 16 and ordered him to pay her $500,000 in damages. Of course, Cosby's lawyers calling this whole thing a sham. They say, in my opinion, these women are not victims of sexual assault. They are victims of greed. Hmm. Okay, whatever you say. I mean, do we want to send an 85-year-old Cosby back to jail? He's not going to jail for this one. It's a civil case. I get that. I yeah. Maybe it's just a way to remind people, don't forget who he is. Meanwhile, he's 85 and able to live out his life in the lap of luxury. His reputation, though, is completely trashed, right? Maybe that's good enough. I don't know. I feel horrible for people that had to go through that. Mindy says, I'm surprised Cosby had the time to do all these assaults on this women. Wes saying, I can't believe that's the same man I loved as a teen and thought was the most perfect person for setting an example for all races. Sounds like he's got an ugly heart and mean streak, allegedly. Yeah. Oh, talking about citizenship, Kay says, I was born in Italy and I'm an American citizen and I have a social security number. I had to have one. Yeah, that would make sense. Completely. Square says it can backfire. Some children are not aware they're US citizens. Foreign governments can bar them from certain jobs or opportunities when found out. So I think if that's the case, if you have dual citizenship and you're applying for a government job where they need you to be allegiant to one country, you can denounce your citizenship in that other country. So um, I think you can get around that. If US citizenship doesn't serve you in your life, you don't live here, you live somewhere else, you're maybe pick Italy just because Kay mentioned it. You're a citizen of Italy. You can denounce being a US citizen if it, you know, if you have no allegiance to the United States. I think you can do that. Yeah. Cheryl talking about Cosby, very disappointed. She agrees with Wes. It's a bummer. It's just it's sad for all these people that were attacked and sad for how this whole thing worked out as well. I don't know. This is a guy, and Cosby, you got to think that was all calculated, right? It was all, he knew what he was doing, allegedly was wrong, hidden all these years. But this is a different story than someone like Kanye West, who I think we can all agree has a serious mental illness. Nothing is hidden and everything's out in the open. But there's a photographer now suing Ye, rapper formerly known as Kanye West, for assault, battery, and negligence. He was seen on camera taking the photographer's phone and throwing it into the street. The photographer said Ye reached into her car, took her phone out of her hand. She filed a lawsuit with a Ventura County Superior Court, according to Variety. I don't know if you take pictures of Kanye West or Ye and expect that he's not going to flip out. Not that it's okay, but I think you're taking your life into your hands. You know that guy's of, let's say, very volatile, and his reaction may be very volatile. This story I've been following today about the debt ceiling, the House passed this bill and now the Senate is looking at it. They say they're racing to pass this debt ceiling bill and avert a default on the nation's debt. It looks like it could happen by Friday night that they're going to vote. In the House, it passed 314 to 117. Majorities in both parties supported the agreement, but it's not a done deal in the Senate. So we'll see what happens. I mean, they know we have to avoid default, but it's a story I'm watching, and I'll make sure to let you guys know tomorrow in the news exactly what happened. Oh, I saw this story earlier, and here's this one that I want to mention before we go for the day. Do you guys snore when you sleep, or do you have the sleep apnea? That's described as where you stop breathing for as many as 10 seconds and then your body kicks back in. They say, they, being the medical experts and researchers, that sleep apnea or snoring could be linked to lower brain volume. I I guess we're snoring ourselves stupid. This study is done in France. It shows part of the brain connected to memory shrinks with those with severe sleep disordered breathing. The study's lead author, a research officer at the National Institute of Health and Medical Research in France, said untreated sleep disorders could increase the risk of dementia because it's linked to lower brain volume. So if you think it's not a big deal that you snore because maybe you live alone, or it's not a big deal that you have sleep apnea, maybe it might be. So check out this study. And again, you can just look up sleep apnea, snoring, lower brain volume. You could search for that. But this is out of France National Institute of Health and Medical Research, and it's all about sleep disorders and dementia and how that's all connected. I had not seen any type of connection with this before, that snoring could be linked to lower brain volume. Maybe your brain's not getting the oxygen it needs at night. I don't know how it works. I don't know how it works. But I do know that that story kind of scared me a little bit because I do snore. And sometimes my husband says, you have funny breathing when you sleep. I don't know about that. So maybe I should go get some help. I don't know. SF Tesla says, I suppose the snoring shrinks its size. Yeah. Cindy says, yes, sleep apnea has been linked to Alzheimer's in a few studies. I did not know that, Cindy. I'm learning. Yeah. Wes says, if I sleep on my back, I snore if I sleep on my back. If on my side or stomach, I don't. Well, okay. I think maybe that's all right, Wes. No, I don't know. But I thought that story was important enough to mention. I think that's interesting. Okay, some people to thank. I think I have uh, several people to thank today. I want to say I haven't been keeping up with clicking on the buttons though, so I'm sorry if I miss you. My bad. I'm sorry. Wes with a $20 contribution to the Nikki Maduro show. Everyone have a good night. It's 5 here. Wes is in Florida, and don't let the AIs bite. Absolutely. Deidre from Lozica Concrete, a $10 contribution to the show. Thank you for another great day. No, Deidre, thank you for your contribution and your contributions in the chat as well. So, so, so appreciated. I can't even tell you guys. That is so nice to see that you like what we're doing and you're enjoying the show. Thank you for all the participation, for spending your time with me today. Of course, Nikki will be back tomorrow. So we'll welcome her back to the mix and find out next week what her days off will be. But I'm so grateful for all of you being here. And we will end the show today, like we do every day, with my boy, Jacob.
Nikki, you're all so awesome. You're sprout like a beautiful blossom. You're also the best. I really can't rest. You're all so awesome.